So we've been hitting about this stuff as Mihul's been going through around clustering, right? So this is not something that's brand new, right? We've been doing this for a while, but we thought it was important to start talking about this as we start talking about scale, right? We start with the customers we're working with now, how do we scale this concept? So the idea is we're able to achieve this hyperscale. So we can actually pool multiple LoadMasters together as a cluster, right? We can set up a single VS that's going to be replicated to all those LoadMasters, and be able to again get that throughput. We have customers that are generating massive amounts of traffic. Exchange environments, hundreds of thousands of mailboxes. Again, some online retailers that are again may not need this all the time, this scale. But certainly, if they're seasonal or, during obviously certain times around,
flower vendors.
Yes, flower. They need this scale at that point in time. So we obviously have the concept of, again, this being a single. We have an admin node, which is all the configuration is done on that and replicated through. We also optionally, right, we can tie that into KEMP 360 Central to see that load distribution across the nodes and I have a demo and I think I should be able to get through it. I might have to click through it a little bit to speed up because I want to get on vision. But we can see that distribution of load across the nodes via KEMP 360 Central. And kind of the icing on the cake, as Mihul just went through, is Mila, right? So those customers that need that, extra horsepower, right, during them seasonal events or in Mother's Day or Valentine's Day, can spin up these LoadMasters with the automation from nothing to a running LoadMaster added to the cluster and starting to receive traffic.
Is there a max number that can be in a cluster?
We don't really have a hard ceiling on the max, but we're seeing most customers are around 5 or 6, 8. We talk about 8. You start getting above that, then you're getting a little bit a little sketchy, with that many nodes in the cluster.
Now, how is the actual traffic forwarding distributed across the cluster?
Yeah, so what we're doing here is because this, again, we're sharing that virtual IP across all of them, we're doing max spoofing. So the traffic actually is coming through the admin node. We're not doing a thing with it, right? As far as latency is concerned, it's just like a separate, like an additional hop. We're talking about doing HA in the cloud, and having that L4 directing the traffic. It's very similar to that, right? Where we're actually sending it to the admin node and then sending that traffic down to the active nodes within the cluster. And then that active node is going back to the client.
So it's very much like GLBP.
I guess
Like what?
GLBP, generic load balancing protocol.
Yeah, kinda.
Yes, I guess
or
you
group,
can see that.
whatever.
Yeah.
So if it's going through one node, why is that not a bottleneck? Because it's not
Again,
doing any
we're not touching the traffic. We're just basically just directing it down. It's really, again, as far as latency is concerned, it's really as an extra hop. Really is what we're.
So you're putting in the appropriate MAC.
Yes, right, yeah. and then sending it to that node. Right?
This is a cluster of physical boxes?
What's that?
This is a cluster of physical boxes?
It could be virtual too. Yeah, I mean, in my lab, I'm running it in Hyper-V.
I see. And co-located at one site and just one IP address.
And also, I need to specify, right, so if you are doing, you can't have a mix and match of hardware and virtual, right? So if it's hardware, it's all the same, right? It's all the same hardware. Virtual, you really should have the same resources across all your virtual machines as well.
And so the cluster can only handle as much traffic as the interface speed of the admin node.
Right, well, again, the admin node, since we're talking about, layer 4 and stuff like, we do millions and millions of transactions, right, in throughput. But yes,
right.
You're going to see the throughput. But again, the throughput, a lot of times, depending on what the workload is, right? So if the workload, and you're basically hitting the site, but you're downloading, right, that's coming directly from these guys. The downloading of that website traffic or whatever is not coming through the admin node, right? The admin node is just the request for the traffic. The return back is going directly to the client, so it's not going back through the admin on that return.
Okay.
So
Think of it as a transparent NAT.
yeah, exactly. And where you're really getting a lot of bang is when you're talking about SSL, offloading, re-encrypt, and things like that. Again, because we're not doing anything there, but when you need to do a lot of that SSL decrypt, re-encrypt, that's when you're really going to get a lot of bang for your buck with that.
So all of the client-originated traffic goes through that one node,
Initially,
and the server traffic goes the other way?
yes. The service, the traffic will come through here, right? We'll send it down to an active node. That active node will then send the traffic back to the real server, and then the return traffic will go directly back to the client. It's not going to go back through the admin.
So you just added another layer of load balancing with direct server return.
In a way, yes. Yes.
It
And again,
looks like
exactly,
direct server
I was
return
referencing it back to
outside.
the way Azure's doing the
Yeah.
active passive.
Yeah.
So yes, very, very similar. Yep.
What happens
And again, within the cloud and stuff like that, I mean, we're seeing very, very little latency with that approach as well.
what happens when an active node or one of the nodes that's passing traffic falls out of the cloud?
Okay. Well, it doesn't, again, so even if the admin node, right, dies, right? So obviously there's HA built into this as well. So the admin node will move to one of the active nodes and then take over that traffic.
But one of the active nodes that's passing traffic, I've got live traffic going through that node. He dies, what happens?
Well, the traffic would have to be, the traffic is going to be gone. I mean, it's not going to send that traffic out through another one, right?
So the client would see that the session died, and
Died,
would have to
yep.
reinitiate
Yes.
a session.
Yes.
It's not going to fail over to another member
That's
of
not
the
going to
cluster.
fail over to another one.
Is any of the application state that you might be managing preserved, like cookie awareness or whatever else you might be doing?
It is, yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I answer that?
Yeah, go ahead.
So for applications where we've invested a lot in the template design, so for example, Skype for Business, Skype for Business has a very clever way of making a failed SIP node appear not to have failed. Exchange doesn't. You're going to get a period of time where it says can't contact mailbox, and then a refresher will occur, a new persistent connection will be established. Obviously for stateless connections this is meaningless, you just go back. But certain applications like Skype for Business, like JD Edwards, are very, very good at recognizing that there are things in front of them that can fail, and that they will then parlay persistence across the recovered or highly available, as Kurt has described it, replacement node. But that relies on potentially a cookie. It shouldn't rely on an IP address, but it can. We have a variety of application templates that are aware of how the application is managing persistence. And then there are some that just don't. They just say, look, here's my application. It's sticky. If you fail, the client is going to get a fail.
I see. Thanks.
So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to skip this demo because I really want to get into vision and hopefully get to the video at the end. So again, my clustering demo was really a 5-node cluster. I was monitoring the traffic through KEMP 360 Central, and going back to Mihal's automation script, via PowerShell, I'm able to, and again, within this, I did, Mihal, time permitting, was going to bring up a LoadMaster from zero, right, from the ground up through the automation script. And I wasn't going to do that again in this demonstration. So this demonstration, I already added the disabled node 5 to the cluster and just able to toggle that through PowerShell. And then all of a sudden, traffic's going to start pushing through there. But again, time permitting, I want to make sure we get through enough KEMP 360 vision, if that's okay.